and Democratic strategist Dave Jacobson. I've dubbed them the wise men. Good to have you back with us.
We're just going to call you John Jacobson from now on.
Exactly. When we huddled on Sunday night, gentlemen, John Thomas, we talked about, you know, your belief of Cruz blowing the expectations game. Well, he certainly did that.
Right. Well, he nailed it. He nailed it. He delivered. He motivated his base. Look, Iowa is curtailed to somebody like Ted Cruz, with all the evangelicals. Kind of they look like Ted Cruz. He did what he had to do. Now he's got to outperform in New Hampshire, and so the heat's on. But I think the bigger story of the night was Marco Rubio, and the fact that he dramatically outperformed expectations, and the establishment is rejoicing, saying, oh my gosh, this is a three-person race.
Wait till New Hampshire. You've got Kasich, you've got Christie, you've got... Who's that guy again? George W. Bush's brother.
Yeah. Sorry, do you mean the guy who spent $2,800 a vote last night at the caucus?
Is that what it came down to? Wow, money not well spent.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is going to be the establishment cage match in New Hampshire. I mean, this is not going to be an easy run for Rubio in New Hampshire like it was in Iowa, right?
No, it won't at all. In fact, Kasich is surging. He's, got most of the newspaper endorsements.
Yeah.
Rubio's sustained most of the attacks on television in paid format from all candidates. It's going to be tough, but we're going to measure in New Hampshire how much of a boost of momentum can really give Marco. Remember, Marco was 12 or 14 points behind in Iowa a week out.
I think the other question, real quick, is whether or not the Teflon that Donald Trump sort of had that was unpenetrable, can really be pierced through, right? And I think you're starting to see a pivot on the attacks. Jeb Bush today released a 2-minute ad attacking Donald Trump. So I think people think he's vulnerable. And if he loses New Hampshire, I don't know that he can go on.
Does he have to perform differently in New Hampshire? I mean, we know he'll go on, but how does he place himself? How does he present himself after this defeat in Iowa? What do you expect in the next couple of days from Trump?
Yeah, he has to measure expectations, but he has to win. Dave's right. He has to win New Hampshire, and that gives him the momentum to go to South Carolina.
Same narrative, or you change the narrative now?
You talk about how this is a tough fight. Everybody knew it was a tough fight. And that's what he's saying. They counted me out, but you know what? I placed second, and I shouldn't have placed it.
Okay, as political strategist here, I mean, I thought the opinion polls last night were the big losers, because obviously they kind of got everything wrong.
Sure.
Is that a sign that maybe Trump's support and his numbers are not quite what they appear to be?
Well, I think also it's a function of whether or not he's going to put his money where his mouth is, right? This is the guy who, sure, he was ahead in the polls, but he really wasn't spending that much resources.
He spent more on hats than he did on internal polling.
Right, and this is the guy who said he's going to spend $1 billion in this campaign. I mean, if he really wanted to win last night, he should have doubled down and spent 2 or 3 times what he actually spent.
It also is a function of organization.
Yes.
The Trump headquarters would not let any press into headquarters, and that's because they knew they didn't have the get out the vote organization to mobilize their supporters, and that's what it takes in some of these states. Ted Cruz had a phenomenal operation.
12,000 volunteers. Very quickly, we're going to get to the Democrat side. Okay. Hillary Clinton, we should note, was the first woman to win Iowa.
And
no one's really talking about it because you know why?
It wasn't
because
a win.
No one outside of the Hillary Clinton campaign believed that she won. No,
it was a punt.
It was a draw. And no one outside Hillary Clinton's campaign thinks that she won, and that's the problem now. She's going to have the perception of being a loser. She's going to lose in New Hampshire. She's got 11 days of being the loser before she gets to Nevada.
Or the counter-argument is she now is able to dislodge that argument of her being inevitable, and that is actually better for her in the eyes of the voters. Where do you guys fall?
Well, I think what last night really underscored is the fact that we're not really going to see a sprint or a coronation to the nomination. This is going to be a long, sort of drawn-out marathon battle like we saw in 2008. You know, she's clearly vulnerable, and Bernie Sanders has momentum. I mean, he's leading with a sizable margin in New Hampshire, and I think if he has a 1-2 punch with 2 successful performances, I think he's going to be able to resonate in other states.
He's also got the money, too.
Really?
It was a punt in Iowa. I don't think anybody won. I mean, razor thin, decided by coin tosses, essentially. But I think the fact is Hillary demonstrated she's got an incredible organization to motivate, but she's a terrible candidate.
And she still snatched victory from
She's got a firewall in South Carolina. That's where this starts. For her.
Very quickly, we've seen Sanders. He's got these little amounts of money coming in from a lot of donors, little amounts of money.
$27 donation.
Which is great because they can come back. Hillary's maxed out. Does she have the money, the finance to keep going in a long battle that you think it could be?
Well, I think she's got to sort of do a carbon copy approach to what the Bernie Sanders campaign is doing, right? He's got millions, I think 3 million individual campaign contributions. 60% of her donations or donors come from maxed out folks. So clearly she's got to sort of reinvigorate her fundraising apparatus and do something different if she wants to sustain a long-term campaign.
I think the Democratic establishment is going to give her the money she needs, but I think from a narrative standpoint it's problematic. Even if she has the money, it's Bernie saying, I don't have a super PAC.
It reinforces the perception.
It's a difficult road she has to walk.
And very quickly, Ted Cruz should do well because he's from Canada, and that's just... Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in.
With you.
Thanks for having us. I don't have a lot of material. I got to recycle.
It's all right.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Dave.